Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another WOW moment. This is David, and today on the WOW, I will be discussing worldly black women. Now, just about a week ago or so, I discussed worldly black men, and as I said, I was going to discuss worldly black women, and here it is. This is a topic that needs to be discussed. It's a topic to whereas I've been observing different types of women, black women, and this is going to be a discussion that is hopefully going to be some enlightenment, some encouragement for a lot of you black women out there, and hopefully that I can shed some light on certain things, because I'm going to be touching bases and I'm going to be making some points on certain things where a lot of these black women need to take a look at. And so before I begin, let's pray. Father Yahweh, thank you for having me here for another day. Bless those who are watching, and hopefully that the message I give out, that these black women will receive it, and hopefully that it'll enlighten them, and then it'll also encourage them to have a different outlook on certain things. All right. So, now that I'm getting on these worldly black women, I'm going to be discussing, I think I might do a 3-part on this, we'll see. Basically, it's going to be about women who are gold diggers, women who are very envious and jealous of other women, women who love to fight, women who are very dominant. They want to have control over the relationship with their men. Women who are greedy. Just a whole lot of different things. And it's to the point where this kind of stuff isn't being discussed in church. I know a lot of black women go to church, and a lot of these preachers and a lot of these pastors aren't going to preach this kind of message. But I'm going to, talk about this because I often see a lot of women who are running the streets today just completely out of control. We have a lot of these women who have the Jezebel spirits on them. We got a lot of these ghetto black women who are just so dominant. Black women today, it's hard to find anyone who's very ladylike, because they're so filled with pride, they're so filled with that ghetto mentality, and they want to be so dominant in one sense, to whereas basically whatever makes them, how do I say this without being so, I'm going to say that it's a lot of bad influences on these young black women, and a lot of that stems from Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Rihanna, all these worldly women that a lot of these young girls, young black women and older black women follow after. And it comes to the point to whereas what they see and what they hear is what they're wanting to become, or what they are becoming. Today's black women, it's all about how good my hair looks, how good my makeup looks, how sexy do I gotta dress to, catch these men's attention, how provocative do I have to be, what makes me stand out, what makes me appeal to these men, instead of them making themselves look like a basic bitch, almost. And when I say by basic bitch, is a terminology women use, is for someone who doesn't get their hair did, for someone who doesn't wear makeup, for someone who dresses regularly, like casually, someone who doesn't dress, in such outfits that are very provocative and stuff. We have a lot of jealous, envious women, and that's for a lot of these women who are probably more successful than the other one, or they get more attention than the other one. So what black women do, they'll just go and hate on other women. Now, my thing is that black women, they like to make life harder for other black women. Because you got black women who work, regular jobs, who are trying to be independent, trying to make a name for themselves, and then you have some other black women, who just basically just shits on them. It's like, if you're not wearing Remy hair, if you're not, getting your nails did and stuff like that, then basically you fall into the category of a basic bitch, which again is something these girls use. And another thing is that black women today, they wanna be like men almost. It's like they have this. It's not, they're not even feminine anymore. It's to the point where they want to be dominant. They want to wear the pants in the relationship. They want to have full control over their men, basically. And I thought that basically was that, aren't men supposed to be dominant? Aren't men supposed to be the caregiver, supposed to be the supporter of his family? And it's to the point where a lot of black women are just basically controlling men, taking over the relationship. Now they're wearing the pants, and now the men are wearing the dresses. So it's like, everything's just basically been switched up. You have a lot of black women who want to dress like men. You see a lot of black women nowadays, they're dressing more boyish than more feminine. And I think that stems from an identity crisis, because it's like they're becoming something to whereas they don't want to be feminine, they want to be on top. They want to be over the men. And realistically, it's not how it should be, because the Lord made man over woman. That's how it's supposed to be. But like I said, you have a lot of these young black women who want to be dominant, who want to take full control of the relationship. And you have some black women who are just very masculine nowadays, and it's not much femininity anymore. You also have women who use men for money. You have women who are making any moves for themselves. Basically what they'll do is that they'll feed off that Jezebel spirit, and they'll use their beauty, they'll use their sexual attractions to attract a man who has something going for himself, who has, money and a decent job, and, a house and a car and stuff like that. So what they'll do is that they'll get with these men only because he has things that can help them get to where they want to be. You have a lot of black women who are opportunists. Let's put it that way. And it comes to the point where a lot of men aren't respecting black women because of this. Because it's all about how much money a man got, what does a man have to offer, how much money does a man make a year on his job, how many figures, blase, blase. But at the same time, you black women, you're not going to school, you're not working, and it's like, why are you trying to depend on another man when you can't even be independent on yourself? That's another thing. And you got a lot of these black women who follow behind Nicki Minaj and Beyonce. Whenever they get their income tax money or whatever, or they get a little $200, what they'll do, instead of investing in something important, what they'll do, they'll go to the hair store and buy this $200 weave and stuff. And it's like, black women can't even keep money. It's all about getting money and spending it. And another thing, what black women do is that they have sex with these men, and then they'll have kids by these men who aren't in a relationship with them, who aren't married to them, who haven't built any foundation with them. And what they do is that they use the babies as a pawn to get child support. Oh yeah, a lot of black women are doing that nowadays. They're hooking up with all these men, and men, they're dumb, they're going to hook up with them too. So the more black women put out, it's coming off to whereas, she's a bitch, she's a hoe, she's a thought, she's a slut, she's a shone, whatever you want to call them and stuff. It's becoming more and more degrading because a lot of black women don't know their worth. They don't know that they were put on this earth to be queens, and the men that are supposed to be with them are supposed to be their king. How can you sell yourself short like that? I mean, do you have to dress provocative to get a man's attention? Whatever happened to a lady just being a natural lady, having her natural beauty, just being herself, and stop trying to be something that she's not. Stop trying to be like Beyonce. Beyonce has millions and millions of dollars. She gets paid to do what she does, and a lot of women follow behind her. And a lot of people are following behind Nicki Minaj. Now, you got a lot of these black women who go to the black market on the low so they can get their breasts done, get their butts done, because they want to look like Nicki Minaj. They want to have ass like Nicki Minaj and stuff. And women just blowing all their money on surgery because they're so unhappy about how they look and stuff. And then on top of that, when they see another woman that looks better than them, they get very envious and they get very jealous. It's either she has a nicer body than them, or she has a nicer face than them, or her weave looks nicer than, the next bitch or whatever. You have a lot of black women who don't respect their black sisters. What they do is that they don't want to see no one strive for excellence. They don't want to see no one rise above. So what a lot of black women will do is that they'll try to bring down other black women so they can get to the top. So that just shows you basically what a dog-eat-dog world we live in and stuff. A lot of black women today, they're very ghetto. All the hand gestures, all the loud mouth, all the fighting, want to fight each other, want to be all dominant, want to be acting like men and stuff like that. It's just the urban communities, the hood, the ghettos. It's that they just have all these black women just messed up, because it's like, okay, I live in the ghetto, I live in the hood, so I'm gonna be ghetto and I'm gonna stay in the hood and stuff. And a lot of these black women, they just adapt to it. They just accept it, and they don't accept the fact that they can, make something of themselves. They can find the Lord, and they could, go to school, whatever, and get some education under their belt. But no, they want to follow behind these other worldly people, these other worldly women who are living in the ghetto and living in the hood and stuff. And that's basically what they just become and where they stay. And it's sad because a lot of black women, they aren't going anywhere. They aren't making any use of themselves. They aren't transitioning over into something higher. A lot of these black women, even these black women who are Christians, who claim they love the Lord, who claim they have the Lord on their side, but at the same time, they're dealing with all these spirits and all these demonic demons and stuff, such as greed and lust, the Jezebel spirits, and stuff like that. I'm going to continue on this.